Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles, your favorite true crime podcast. I am Donnie, and with me is a man who is considered a hero because he just saved a beer that was trapped in the refrigerator. It's Dale.
It was suffocating me.
Yeah,
I'm a hero of the people.
You got to save the beer, man.
Got to crack it open, man.
You got to.
Let it out.
Yeah. Let him free.
Let him free.
Yep. What's going on, dude?
Oh, same old, same old. How about yourself?
Same old, same old.
Do I say that every time?
I think we say it all the time. I think we say it every time.
It's probably true, though, is it not?
Yeah, we always do the same old stuff.
Yeah, same old's pretty good, though.
It is.
It works for us, doesn't
If you can do that, then you're doing good.
Yeah, at least it's not the same old, new old.
Yeah.
The unsame.
This or that.
The different new.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go with that. You got any shout-outs, dude?
Man, I got a few here, and I'll try to take my time because I usually just blow through this, but I was thinking about the other day, this is probably a really important part of the show because if it wasn't for these folks, who would we be?
We wouldn't be here.
That's right. So, what the hell? Anyway, first off, I'd like to give a little shout out to our friend 909 Lena on YouTube, man. She left us a really cool comment on the Al-Qaeda case, and it's pretty lengthy, so I think I'll just post that on our page and then let you guys read it, but man, it was really awesome, and I appreciate him taking the time to type all that out because that means a lot.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. Also, is that my heavy breathing going? I know. I'm making somebody happy. Anyway, we got a 5-star.
5-star.
Yeah. Man, you got my effects pedal yet?
Nah.
Damn it.
I ain't got to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to work on that.
Anyway, it says addicted with a bunch of exclamation points. And it's, I'm addicted to crack, ... House Chronicles. Love listening to you guys. Look forward to each new episode. And that comes from Tracy G in Gaston County, North Carolina.
Tracy G.
Her handle is Nana22GR8 Kids. So I guess that's Nana22 Great Kids.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Pretty cool. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we appreciate that 5-star.
We do appreciate it.
Yeah, we got a couple more here because I'd like to give a shout out to our friends in our they are also a North Carolina podcast called Enmeshed, and that's ENMESHED, and that's Pam and Amanda, and they've been giving us a lot of love, so we figured we would return the favor.
We do appreciate it.
So you guys go over and check them out and see what you think about their podcast. One more thing on the little doc here, I'd like to say we really appreciate on our fan page, I think we have some unofficial official greeters, and I'd like to give a shout out to Stephanie Boehm, I hope that's right. If I didn't say it wrong, if I butchered it, you let me know. Boehm, and to Debbie Crum. And it seems like anytime we welcome new folks into the page, you guys are right there to jump on it and welcome them on in, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, we do appreciate it, people.
We like to get some interaction going on in the page and have a lot of fun there.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks a lot.
And it seems like everybody's hitting the Apple Podcast more and leaving a review.
Yeah, man.
And if anybody wants to continue to do that, by all means hit it, and we'll give you a shout out.
Yeah, it'd be cool, man.
Yep.
As if we could run on up some other places and be good like we are in South Africa.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to order anything off the store page, get you a
man.
T-shirt and support the Crack House.
Yeah, you might want to order your hoodie. It's getting that time.
It is getting cooler.
That's right. It's getting fair time around here.
Mm-hmm. And fall is in the air.
Yeah, when it gets fair weather, you know what that means? That means like a county fair, not fair to whatever, fair to Midland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the county fair. So it means
by the time it rolls in, the cool weather comes in.
And the rain hits.
Yeah.
It always rains during fair
always
time.
rains. Yeah, so we stand in the mud and park a few cars.
That's it.
That's right.
All right. Other than that, dude, we're going to get into our case this week, man.
All right, then.
All
So
right,
you got something about the Simpsons today, right?
Yeah. No, not really, but...
Oh, it's a different Springfield?
Yeah, we're going to Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this week, dude, we are talking about the Springfield Three.
All right.
And this is 3 ladies that disappeared from Springfield, Missouri. The first one was Sherill Elizabeth Levitt. Now, she was the mother of one of the girls missing, but Sherill, she was a cosmetologist, and she was 5 feet tall, 110 pounds, with short, light blonde hair and brown eyes, and she was born on November the 1st of 1944.
Okay.
Now, the other one that went missing, her name was Suzanne Elizabeth Streeter, and she was the daughter of Sherill. And she was 5 foot 2 inches tall, 102 pounds, with shoulder-length blonde hair and brown eyes.
So we have a mother and daughter.
Yep. And she was born on March the 9th of 1973. And the other one that missing was a friend of Susie, and her name was Stacy Kathleen McCall. And she was 5 feet 3 inches tall, 120 pounds, with long, dark, blonde hair, light-colored eyes, and she was born on April the 23rd of 1974.
Okay.
Dale, our story starts on June the 6th of 1992. And this is when Suzanne Streeter and Stacy McCall graduated from Kickapoo High School.
Is that a Pokemon thing?
No, it's a high school there in Missouri.
Okay.
And it had been reported that Brad Pitt graduated from high school there.
Yeah, actually, they're named after a Native American tribe, I think.
Okay.
Or at least after a Chief Kickapoo or something like that.
Yeah.
Because the high school mascot is the Chiefs.
Very cool. Now, Susie, she was Cheryl's daughter. She was just 19, and she wanted to follow in her mother's footsteps to be a hairdresser. And she had just moved to Springfield and bought a house there, Dale.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a pretty big clientele of people. She was cutting her hair and styling her hair and stuff. I think she said she had over 200 customers at one time.
Yeah, or more, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good bit.
But Susie wanted to follow in her footsteps.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think they moved a while back from Washington State, I believe it was.
Yes, Seattle.
Yeah, and then they had been there a little while, and I think when they came, it was her and not Susie's dad, but another fellow, and then they ended up getting divorced, and that's when she moved to the smaller house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she had bought her dream home there in a pretty safe part of Springfield, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And Cheryl's sister described her sister, Sherill, as a pretty fierce lady. And she didn't do a lot of half measures in her life. I mean, she done anything, she done it right. But now, this was supposed to be one of the happiest times for Susie and Stacy that were graduating from Kickapoo High.
Of course.
Yeah, they actually used to be real good friends back in grade school.
Yes.
But they had kind of grown apart.
Well, you know, when you get going through school, you kind of hook up with different people and hang out in different groups.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what happened here.
And Susie went with a different crowd, and
Mm-hmm.
than Stacy did.
Right.
So, but Susie was the popular girl who dated a bad boy.
Ooh.
Yeah. But Stacy was the pretty local model who hung out with the goofy crowd, and I think she'd done a little bit of modeling and even worked in a bridal shop modeling wedding dresses too there. So she was a looker, as has been described.
A looker.
Yeah, and we will post pictures of these ladies on our social medias, dude.
Okay.
But now they graduated high school on June the 6th of 1992, and the ceremony lasted from about 4 to 6 p.m. And after that, I think some of them went out to eat, and some went out and done different things. But Stacy and Susie was going to meet up later because all their friends, they were going to go to some parties that night, and the next day they were going to go to Branson, Missouri, to Whitewater. This was like a theme park, water park type deal.
Right.
After the parties, they had planned to go ahead and drive to Branson, Missouri. It was about an hour away, and they were going to get a hotel room for that night.
Right.
And a little bit later, they decided against that.
Yeah, her mama didn't want her to do that anyway.
That was Stacy's mother.
Right. I'm sorry. And I agree with her. I don't think you should go to a party and hang out all night and then take off and drive 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You should just wait and go in the morning, make it safe.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at 10:30 p.m. on June the 6th, this was the night they had graduated, Stacy McCall had called her mother, Janice, to let her know that they were not planning to make the drive to Branson, Missouri that night.
Right.
And they decided they would just spend the night at their friend Janelle Kirby's house.
Yeah, I think originally they were going to stay where the party was, but then it just got a little wild, so Janelle invited them to come over and stay at her place.
Yeah.
But when they got over there, I think it was a little crowded because a lot of her relatives had came into town for the graduation, and they had to sleep on the floor, and they weren't feeling that either.
Yeah, it was a lot of people in that house. These girls decided they would be more comfortable if they just went back to Susie's house, because Susie had just got a brand new waterbed as a graduation present.
King size too.
Yes.
Yes.
And about 2 a.m., Susie and Stacy told Janelle that they were heading back to Susie's house.
Okay, so if we were following their timeline so far, they shut down the party at 1:40, and then they drove, what was it, 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Said that's 1:50. So the time they got there and her mama, she must have slung that pallet out for them to say, man, we're going to leave at 2 o'clock because they don't leave at 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just being a stickler over details.
Well, it's probably late, and she's probably wanting to get to bed, too. So
Yeah, so
yeah.
she slugged it out and said, here, go to
Yeah,
bed.
yeah, we're going to sleep here. But like I said, they headed back to Susie's house because they had that waterbed there.
I don't blame them.
But the girls may have had other plans, and their last reported sighting was on Battlefield Road. This was about 10 minutes away from Susie's house at 2:30 a.m. At any rate, they were still going to go to the water park the next day.
Correct.
Like everybody had planned. And you got to remember, during this time, Dale, there were no cell phones, man.
That's right.
So you just couldn't just text up somebody or call up somebody. When you made plans, that was pretty much set in stone, and you went ahead with the plans.
Yeah, they had told Janelle that, plans are the same, just we'll get up in the morning and we'll all head to the water park.
Yeah.
Because they were all going together.
Now, back at Susie's house, Sherill Levitt was there. This is Susie's mom, and that night it was reported that she was doing some things around the house. She'd done a little bit of wallpapering, and
She was refinishing a chair or something.
yeah, or a chair or a dresser or something.
Yeah, maybe a dresser. It was a dresser, yeah. You're right.
And she had spoken on the phone to someone, and it had been reported that it was one of her best friends named Val.
Yeah.
That's what we've been told.
That came from an interview with Bart.
Yeah.
And that would be Susie's brother.
We'll talk about Bart just a little bit later.
Right.
Yeah. But they get back to Cheryl's house, and that's when things sort of go a little bit weird, dude.
That's kind of when we just kind of lose what's going on here.
Yeah. Because really nobody knows what happens after that.
Yeah.
Now, the next morning, this was about 9 a.m., no one can reach Susie or Stacy at the house.
Yeah. Well, Janelle said she had made several calls and hadn't get any answer from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So figured out what the hell's going on here.
Yep. So Janelle and her boyfriend Mike, they head over to Cheryl's house.
Yes.
And it has also been stated that Suzanne's best friend Nigel also made her way over to the house, and that she was going to attend the water park with all the group.
Right.
But now Nigel, she notices that Susie's car is not parked in its usual spot.
Yeah, she's they said that she was really a stickler for parking her car. It was almost like a
OCD kind of thing.
Yeah, for parking. It was always in the same spot in the carport.
Yeah.
Unless there was another car there and then it was parked in one other spot, or unless she felt she was going to block her mom out.
Mm-hmm. But they had like a half circular driveway,
mm-hmm.
and the two girls both drove red vehicles, and they were just pulled up in the circular part of the driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. We got pictures of that, and I don't know, it looked like one of the vehicles is partially on the grass.
Yeah.
It's very, very weird.
Well, it's weird if you always park in the same spot. Otherwise, 2 o'clock in the morning, you just whoop in and go in the car to go in the house. But since it was really made a big deal of her always parking in this one spot, it's kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah. But now they get to the house, and all the friends, they knock on the door, and there's no answer.
Correct.
And Janelle and Mike, their boyfriend, girlfriend, they notice that the porch light, the globe on the light is shattered, and is glass all over the front porch.
Right
there at the door. But the light bulb still works.
Yes.
Yeah. But they find a broom outside, evidently, and they sweep up this broken glass.
Yeah, I believe Janelle asked Mike if he'd sweep that up. Yeah, they did find a broom outside. That's right. Yes, and he swept it up and then dumped it. Depending on where you hear, or whatever, it was either over the fence next door or in their dumpster next door.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But anyway, he got rid of the glass.
Yes, he cleaned it up.
Yeah. And the group, they noticed all three girls, Sherill Levitt, Susie Streeter, and Stacy McCall, they wasn't nobody at home. They knocked on the door, didn't get any answer at all.
Nothing.
And then they noticed the door is unlocked.
Yeah, I think Mike actually just went over and tried the knob and it opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not getting any of the girls at all. Nobody's answering. So they open the door and don't see anything at all.
Nope.
There's nothing amiss. The house looks nice. Everything's,
Yeah, open the door and yell and nobody comes.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So they go in the house, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing they notice is the dog.
Raising hell.
Yeah. The little dog comes out just barking, upset, whining. Cinnamon, that was the dog's name. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
And the dog just wanted to be held.
Mm-hmm. Probably wanted to go outside.
Could have been.
No, I'm not sure, because I think they had a dog door in the backyard, so it probably could go out if it wanted, but I'm not sure. He was freaking out, though, anyway. It seemed to be it was pretty upset about what was going on.
Mm-hmm. But they're looking around the house and didn't see anything out of sorts or anything.
No, and nobody's there.
But now they did notice that all the ladies' pocketbooks were lined up with each other in the living room.
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
Yep. And they also found that Sherill, this is the mom, she had $900 in her purse. And this was, I think, deposits from her beauty salon that she worked at.
Yeah, because she said she worked long hours every day to take care of the family because she was a single mom, and if this was a Saturday, she probably had worked, Friday and hadn't been on, because if it was going to graduation on Saturday, she probably didn't work that day. But, she hadn't had time to go by the bank, put it in the bank.
Probably.
So, I don't know. To me, first of all, this is kind of weird to me because if I'm knocking on the door, I'm not going into somebody's house.
No.
And I'm definitely not going in the house and start digging through their purses.
No.
Whether they're there or not. It's just kind of weird to me.
It's very weird. Now, Dale, while all the people were in the house, when Susie and Stacy's friends were there, they were just sort of looking around at stuff, and they were kind of tidying up. I guess they had washed some dishes, they had emptied some ashtrays, and they had also even repaired a window blind that was kind of bent.
Yeah.
It looked like somebody had been looking out of it while they were there. This was before they left to go to the water park. But while they're all in the house, the phone rang, Dale, and Janelle answers the phone.
Yeah, well, she said, later that she thought maybe the girls had walked somewhere, maybe to go get something to eat or something.
Or maybe got some breakfast or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of weird, too, because you just know that their purse is here, so, and you already looked at them, apparently, so you know all their stuff's here. But anyway, she thought it might be them calling for some reason.
And another thing that was odd, too, that Sherill, she was the mom, she was a chain smoker, and her cigarettes were there at the house.
Yep.
And it was been reported that she does not go anywhere without her cigarettes.
Basically said that she went from one room to the other, she was taking them with her.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, I guess with us with our cell phones nowadays.
Yeah. And I think Susie was also a smoker, and she wasn't quite as bad as her mom, but she was pretty close to say.
Yeah.
And hers was there too. It's kind of odd. This case really reminds me a lot of the Kim Raymer story, where not really the story, but as far as going in the house and everything's there and everything looks nice and everything's there, but the people.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of
just a disappearance, man.
Yeah, weird. And everything looks nice and neat. Nobody stole the money, nothing. It's crazy.
Yep, and the TV was on.
And the TV was on.
Yeah.
It was just a snow or fuzz or whatever you want to call it.
Just static, just a white static screen.
Yeah, like maybe they had watched a movie or something, and or somebody was using the VCR and the movie quit.
Yeah.
If you know what VCRs are.
Yeah, or just on a channel that wasn't any service at all.
Right. Well, it's not like that anymore, so people don't know nothing about it. Yeah.
But now, getting back to what we said earlier, while they were there, the phone rang.
Right.
And Janelle answers the phone. And there was a male voice on the other end, and he made some lewd sexual comments.
Yeah, according to her, nobody knows really.
Yeah.
According to her.
Yeah, and
so she hung up.
She just sort of brushed it off as somebody trying to make a prank call.
Yeah, because back then, everybody, I'm sure we all did it. I did.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to call.
I don't think I called and made lewd comments, but, we used to call people and make prank calls.
Yeah, we used to call the KFC and ask them if they had chicken legs. They say, yes, we do. They say, well, stay behind the counter so nobody will see them. Yeah. So, we made prank calls, yeah.
Oh, Lord, okay.
Yeah. Or call the grocery store and ask them if they had Prince Albert in a can.
Yeah, let him out.
Yeah, he might smother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, we done our share of prank calls.
Your refrigerator running?
Yeah.
You better go catch it.
Yeah, This was before caller ID.
Yeah, you can get away with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now after we got her sidetracked there, but anyway, after the first time she hangs up, she said, what the hell, and then the phone rings again. She picks it up again, and it's the same voice, so he starts to do the same thing, and she just hangs the phone back up. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Okay, now during all this time, Stacy's mom, Janice, was trying to find out where Stacy was.
Right.
She had called Janelle's house and couldn't get a hold of her there.
So she said that she went to the water park to find Janelle because and said, what's going on? So, well, we don't know. We couldn't find anybody. So they just figured that maybe they had already left to go to the water park.
Mm-hmm.
And so she asked her where it was, and that's how she found out where the house was. And then they went back later and got there that evening, and that's when she got to the house.
Yeah, about 9 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was way later.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, Janelle and all them, they went to the water park because, you know, you just had plans. You had plans.
correct.
Yeah.
So they thought I guess they maybe thought somebody come by and picked them up or something, since everybody's car was still there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all 3 cars were at the house.
Yep.
Yes.
Now, Janice, this was Stacy's mom.
Mm-hmm.
She also visited the house
Yes.
after making several attempts to reach her daughter by phone. And she noticed in the house when she was in there, all 3 women's purses were sitting on the floor.
Right. Same thing. She walks in, all the purses there,
Mm-hmm.
just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Dog's still there.
And she also noticed her daughter's clothing was neatly folded from the night before.
Yep, laced on top of her sandals. Noticed that her jewelry was in the pockets of her shorts.
Yes.
So they knew that the girls had made it home.
Mm-hmm.
Their stuff was there. Pretty much everything was there except for her underwear and a T-shirt that she was wearing.
Yep.
So, I mean, her keys, her pocketbook, her shoes, her jewelry, everything. Even her, I think she had some medicine there too, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or something. But anyway, everything was there except them.
Yep. And this is when she noticed that Sherill and Susie had left their cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when Janice called the police. Because back then, I think she had said in an interview that this was when 911 had just gotten implemented.
Yep.
And they told them not to call 911 unless there was an emergency.
Yeah, she was scared to call 911.
Yeah. So she called 411 to get the number for the police department.
Correct.
That's when they told her, said, just call 911. But anyway, she got the police department and was telling them that her daughter was missing and somebody needs to come out. And this is when she was at the house that she noticed the answering machine.
Mm-hmm.
The light was blinking on it.
Correct.
And she listened to the answering machine. And she listened to a strange message. And it was like the ones from before.
Yeah, similar to the ones Janelle had heard.
Yeah, the lewd sexual content.
Right.
But somehow this message got erased from the tape.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I've heard it different ways that once the message was heard or listened to, it was deleted, which I kind of doubt. You'd about have to...
Yeah, because then I would assume, well, maybe not, but most answer machines then, it was on like a cassette tape.
Yeah.
Now, this may have been when they first got the digital ones out or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of weird.
Internal memory kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, I mean, and if you don't know what an answer machine was, it was just a little thing hooked to your phone back then when you had just landline phones. And when you called, and it would ring so many times, and it would click on, and then you have one tape would play your outgoing message, hello, whatever, nobody's here, leave a message, and then the other tape would kick on and record whatever the person calling said.
Yeah.
And then it would blink the light saying you had a message.
But now Stacy's mom and dad, they were there and they contacted the police in reference to Stacy's disappearance. And this was more than 16 hours after these women were last seen, Dale. And the police later estimated that this crime scene had been corrupted by 10 to 20 people who had visited Cheryl's house.
Yeah, worry about it.
During that time.
Well, because nobody texts and whatever stuff then, so everybody just came by to see what was going on.
Well, and really, do you really consider any place a crime scene?
No, not unless there's no blood and guts everywhere, or nothing like that.
Yeah.
I know that's a little extreme, but...
Bullet holes or anything?
Yeah, there's nothing there that says, oh shit, this is a crime scene,
Mm-hmm.
It's just, just like the Kimberly one,
Yeah.
You don't know. When you don't know, you don't know. And that's why, of course, I never, like I said before, I never would have went in the house to begin with. And I damn sure wouldn't go in there and start cleaning up and washing dishes and emptying their ashtrays and fixing stuff.
Mm-mm.
It's just weird to me.
Yeah.
How everything happened, but it's a different time and place.
Yeah. But now, when the officers got there, the scene showed no signs of a struggle except for the exterior porch-like globe that we talked about earlier.
It was already being cleaned up.
Yeah. And, me and you've talked about this, and I don't know if that porch-like globe is significant or not.
Well, there's something to it, but I don't know if it means anything. I don't think it'd been laying there for days. They wouldn't have been walking over it, I wouldn't think.
Mm-hmm.
If the whole house is immaculate, then she's not going to leave a busted glass on the front porch. It could have just got, and I don't know. I've been thinking about that. What did it do? Of course, when you get to thinking about what's going on and how how else all went down.
Yeah.
It could come into play later, I guess. But I was going to say, maybe they just busted it to get somebody to come outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whoever did whatever, because they got them out of the house somehow.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know, but that seems a little bit extreme. I don't know.
Makes me wonder if they could have just got that glass out of that dumpster, took that dumpster and picked it apart.
Yeah, but what would they find?
I don't know. I mean, they were so interested in that glass from that globe.
But I mean,
hair fiber or something, hair or fibers or something, or some kind of.
Well, when we looked, at the house, it was pretty high up, so I wouldn't think it was they hit it with their hand to leave a fingerprint, or I never hit it with their head or nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's just it's a shame they just went in there and destroyed the whole thing without knowing what they were doing.
But this is when the police took a report and they were going to file a missing persons report.
Yes.
And this is when they started with the house and they treated it like a crime scene.
Well, yeah, they did. They declared it missing persons, but it also could be with foul play.
Yeah.
And that way they could get more stuff going right away.
Yeah.
As far as it being a crime scene and everything.
And they could not recover the message from the answering machine.
Mm-mm.
They said there wasn't no way they could get that back. So this when the police, they got to dig in a little deeper into the background of the women to see if they could find anything, on them.
Yeah.
And this one they found something odd on the bookshelf in Susie's room. And they found that there was a lot of things about devil worship and satanic stuff when they were looking into it. And
like what did they say?
No, they said just drawings and different things. And this is when the police discovered that Suzanne Streeter had dated a bad boy who had been arrested for being a part of a grave robbing gang. This is when they had broken into a mausoleum and they had took the gold teeth out of some skulls.
Yeah, I think they took the skulls and some other stuff and put them in a tree and stuff, but that's how they got caught. Is one of the kids popped the gold teeth out and tried to sell them in a pawn shop.
So they had to bust in the mausoleum, bust open the vaults, and open the mouth and pull out the teeth.
Well, they took the whole head.
Yeah.
And they put them in a tree. Is that ended up where they had found them, bones and stuff. But yeah, that's how they got caught. The one guy pried some gold out of the teeth and then took them to the pawn shop.
Yeah.
And got busted.
And I think he got $30 for the gold. And this one,
So what, the pawn shop guy bought the gold and then called the cops?
Yeah.
What the hell?
So really he was just out $30.
Yeah.
But yeah. But they say that Susie was so disgusted by this that's when she broke up with him.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. But so she still kept his weird drawings in her room.
I guess. But the theory was that they always suspected Susie of being the one that turned them in and got them charged for the grave robbing.
Yeah, so they're thinking maybe these kids are mad and that's a motive for them.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah, because they thought she was going to testify, I think.
Yeah. At one of the trials.
Right.
But actually the trial was just a few months away.
Mm-hmm.
But they think that maybe this was just a way to shut her up.
It's a little extreme.
And
Get rid of 3 people.
Mm-hmm. But the Springfield police tracked down the young men who deny any involvement.
Right.
And they was pretty cooperative. They submitted DNA and everything and took polygraphs, and they all passed, and they were cleared.
That's the first.
Yeah.
You don't really hear this much as far as taking a polygraph and cleared.
No. There was just a couple weeks that passed, and they were still no word from Stacy, Susie, or Sherill.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah. And just as I guess things were sort of fading, and there was a person that called in and said she thought she saw Suzanne Streeter or a person looking like Susie driving the van.
Yeah,
and
this is a weird thing too.
Yeah, this female caller says that she saw Susie the morning she went missing driving an older model avocado green panel van. And the van was seen 2 miles away from where Cheryl's house was. The caller also tells the police that Susie looked scared.
Well, they said that she was out on the front porch that morning drinking her coffee, right?
Yeah.
And this was
between 6:30 and 7.
6:30 and 7, and we did go back and look and see when sunrise was, and it was like 5:15 to 5:30 on that day, so it would have been a little bit daylight, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But she said she saw him pull up in the driveway, and the girl looked like she had been crying a lot.
Upset.
She could see a birthmark on her cheek because Susie had one, but she usually kept it covered up with makeup. But at this point,
Mm-hmm.
said she saw that, and then she heard somebody in the back that you couldn't see say, "Don't do nothing stupid. Just turn around and go the other way," or something similar to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. If you're sitting on your front porch and somebody pulls up, you have to be Hawkeye as hell to see all that.
Yeah.
To me, it just seems a little overkill.
Yeah. But the police, they seem this to be very credible. And they actually bought a similar van and had it painted up the same way and parked it in front of the police station.
Right.
Hoping it would sort of shake someone's memory about the van.
Now, I get it. If maybe she saw a girl in there, but I mean, she added a lot of details. It was kind of hard for me to believe you could see from sitting on the front porch, unless she had like a 2-foot driveway or something.
Yeah. But they got all kinds of tips and theories, people calling in from space aliens to human trafficking to everything.
Right.
And there was a lead that a guy who was a notorious criminal out of Webster County may have taken them, raped them, and chopped them into pieces and fed them to the pigs. There was even another theory.
Another theory, yeah.
Yep.
But, I mean, I guess everybody's got something they think, happened. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yep. Now, during this time, there was a tip that comes all the way from Florida, Dale, and this is the one that shakes the cops up a little bit. This is a guy named Robert Craig Cox. Now, this dude was a highly trained Army Ranger, and he was even once named Soldier of the Year. And he had believed that he was responsible for a homicide of a girl in Florida. And he had actually been convicted and sentenced to death for the brutal murder of 19-year-old Sharon Zellers. What it was, Robert and his family, they were there at Disney World celebrating his graduation from Army Ranger School. And they had been to Disney World and stuff, and I think he went out that night on his own.
Yes.
And he had come across Sharon Zellers, and Sharon worked at Disney World. And she just so happened to be filling in that night for a coworker that wasn't able to work. So she just filled in their spot. And I think he hooked up with her or kidnapped her or something. But anyway, he attempted to rape her. And I guess during the rape, she bit his tongue.
Yes, about an inch.
Yeah.
Off.
Yeah, bit it off. Actually severed an artery in his tongue.
Yeah, a major artery.
Yeah. And this when he gets back to the hotel and he sees his mom and dad, and he's just covered in blood, man, up and down. And they take him to the hospital and try to get him help. And he tells them that he got in a fight at a skating rink.
Yeah.
And a black guy hit him, and then when he hit him, he bit his tongue accidentally.
Right. But they knew from the way it looked like it was torn and it looked like it was bit from the other side that he was lying.
Yeah, it looked like somebody had bit it.
Right.
Yeah. But I think they fixed his tongue, and he was okay.
Yeah. Now, they found that girl later.
Yes.
And it was basically everything was going on. It was really, really close to the hotel.
Yeah, it wasn't far, like down in a sewer.
But it was already too decomposed to really tell a lot of details, and they definitely didn't find a piece of tongue in her mouth or nothing.
No. But there was never enough evidence to say that he was actually involved.
Well, they convicted him, and then Supreme Court down there overturned it, right?
Yeah, because there wasn't enough evidence.
Right. To put him on death row, so he got to go. And then he went to Texas.
Yep. So everybody's asking, what's his connection to the Springfield Three, these 3 women from Springfield? But actually, Cox's family was from Springfield, Missouri.
Yes.
And once he was released, his conviction was overturned, he had to go back to California to finish a sentence there. And then when he got out there, Dale, that's when he moved back home to Springfield.
Correct.
And he was actually worked at a car dealership as a mechanic that Stacy's dad worked at.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of connection there.
Yes. Now, they'd say there was really a huge dealership, and it is possible that neither ever saw each other, but you know how that is. So it's possible. And she had been to the dealership several times to take her dad lunch and stuff, so it's also possible that he did see her.
But now, like we said, this Robert Craig, he was highly decorated, highly skilled Army Ranger, but he had a terrible past of abducting young women. And he was also suspected of a brutal murder, like we said, that was later cleared. And through investigation, he became a person of interest in this Springfield Three case. And cops learned that Robert Cox moved to Springfield just weeks before Stacy, Susie, and Sherill mysteriously disappeared, man.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy. So the cops call him in for questioning.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of things didn't add up. And the biggest problem is, when they had him in for questioning, his girlfriend gives him an ironclad alibi.
Mm-hmm.
And she claimed that they were at church.
He was with me the whole time.
Yep. So it couldn't have happened. He wasn't there. It couldn't have happened. But then Robert Cox is arrested again, this time in Texas for aggravated robbery. Now, the girlfriend he had that gave him the alibi, she's singing a different tune now, dude.
Yeah, she went back and recanted.
Yeah. She's claiming that she had no idea where Robert Cox was the night that the Springfield Three went missing.
Yeah.
And he was charged down in Texas, and he is actually currently serving prison time in Texas.
Yeah, with an interview with this lady's daughter now, currently, but she's much older now than she was at the time. I think she was 12 or something at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she said that they were talking about it and said, why did you say that? And she said she was scared. He had told me to say it, so that's what I said.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, heck, Mom, we don't even go to church.
Yeah.
So how the hell could they not figure that out real quick? So I don't know. There's a lot of what the hell moments in this case.
Yeah.
But, really, if you think about it, unless he just happened to run across them, because, they weren't where they were supposed to be, 2 or 3 different, they changed their plans so many times. It's not like somebody was stalking them down.
Yeah.
Unless they just maybe run across them on their way back to the house.
That was the only thing that could happen.
Right.
Yeah, he just happened to see them driving down the road because one was following the other, and they both had red cars.
Right.
And it would stand out.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, he was working as a gas repairman, maintenance, something, working for the city as a gas man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's even believed that he could have had a ruse to say that there was a gas leak.
Yeah, this guy, he's pretty shady, and he's even, in later interviews, he's even said, well, the way I'd do it, I just went up, knocked on the door, and told him we had an issue with the gas line.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be an easy way to get them all out of the house, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with no shoes and everything. I mean, because if you think about it, all she had was a T-shirt and her underwear on. She's definitely not going somewhere on her own free will just to go romping around in her panties.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That would be a way to get them out of the house. A lot of people said, one person couldn't do it, but one person could do it if they had a gun and know how. And this dude's pretty shady.
Yeah. But now the case cools off again, and it may have stayed that way if it hadn't been for a freelance journalist named Kathy Baird, who is from Springfield, Missouri. And this is when she brought in a guy who had some ground-penetrating radar. And there was some tips that came in saying that the women were buried beneath a hospital parking lot. This is Cox Hospital, which is no relation to Robert Cox. But they just, after the women went missing, they actually put in this parking lot.
Mm-hmm. And
she had a guy come out with ground-penetrating radar and search that area.
Well, I think the hospital was already, under construction and going on. It was an ongoing thing while this happened.
Yep.
It wasn't built later.
Yeah. But the man she hires, he was actually part of 9/11 there on Ground Zero in New York, helping find bodies with his equipment. So he's got a pretty good reputation of...
Well, that'll be way later, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, he had a reputation. Well, later he had a reputation, but I guess that's what he did for a living. So he had the equipment to be able to find this stuff. And he'd been known to find, like, hidden graves before.
Correct.
Yeah. So he was searching this area, and then this when he found some anomalies under the ground, under the concrete.
Yes. 3 of them.
Yeah.
2 parallel and 1 perpendicular to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't say exactly what it is, but to him it said it looks like graves.
From what he'd seen before.
Yeah, it said this is exactly what I see when I go over old graves.
Yeah.
But the cops are saying that the timeline just don't add up. They don't think it's possible. And I think even the hospital had even just said, hell, go ahead and dig it up. You know, they gave their blessing to go ahead and dig up the parking lot, but they still never did it.
No.
They don't believe it's possible.
Mm-mm.
And I figure it's a money thing.
It could be.
Right.
But this case is still unsolved, man. But, you know, going back to the lady that saw the supposedly Susie driving the van,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and said she could see the birthmark on her face. Well, you know, Stacy covered up that birthmark with makeup
Always,
to hide it. But when they were searching the house, they found washcloths where they'd washed their face and washed their makeup off.
Yeah. That's what I say. You know, it could be possible, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just odd to me.
Yeah.
You know, and even her brother was named a suspect at one time.
Mm-hmm. Because they'd had a falling out.
Yeah, he had a problem with alcohol. He had moved out, and I think he had moved out before. He'd come back, and then him and a girl had got together, and they had their place. And then when they had to break up, he came home again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he stayed there for some, but his mama just didn't like to drink, and so him and Susie had got an apartment together. And then they had a falling out. Was also alcohol involved. I think she came home and he was partying pretty late and had the radio up loud, and they kind of got into it there. And she decided to go back home, and then they had just been apart ever since. So, but anyway, they had thought it was him for a while, but he was cleared as well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't him. It was just they didn't treat him too good before then.
Yeah, I think when they brought him in, I mean, he was really distraught over this. They could tell he was very cooperative and was very interested in the case, and that ruled him out pretty quick. They could tell he was really, it hit him hard.
Yeah, he said that when they brought him in and asked him what's going on, if he had seen his mom or his sister, said he hadn't seen them in 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, said he would go back twice a day. He'd go on his lunch break, and he would go after work just to see what they were doing and make sure they were doing everything they could do to find him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was pretty upset.
Mm-hmm.
And there actually was an online blog that was created called the Streeter Family Blog, and Bart actually started this blog, but he since turned the blog over to his daughter Dee, and she maintains that blog online, which is pretty interesting. And there was also a podcast that was launched in 2021 called the Springfield Three, A Small Town Disappearance. I think it's a 8-10 part project.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really in depth. A lot of interviews, a lot of insight from some of the friends and family.
Yeah, I think a lady who actually is a journalist and is actually from that area had went back and done all this. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I suggest if you want to take a deep dive into this case, to check that out.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, and there was even like a guy who called in and said that him and a friend were at a Girl Scout camp.
Yeah.
And they were out in the woods. And while they were out there, this van, he said it just kind of showed up out of nowhere while they were out there. And they kind of hid in the woods and watched, and said it was 3 guys got out, and they had the 3 girls. And then they took one of them down, and then the other ones, they raped the other ones. And I don't know, did they kill them there, they said? I think they said they killed them there and then threw them back in the van and left. And he said they sat there in the woods for about 4 hours waiting to make sure that they were gone, because they damn sure didn't want to be seen. And then the guy who actually took him out to the woods killed himself later. But they said, you know, this really bothered him, you know, forever. It's really scarred him up, and said it must have bothered the other guy pretty well too, you know, for him to kill himself. But
yeah, they were young. They were about 15 at the time when that happened. Yeah,
and
it bothered them bad.
So, but they can't prove it. Anything happens, so nothing really goes. They don't go anywhere with that. But that is a pretty interesting theory.
Mm-hmm.
That's something more could be, you know, so if the van theory is true.
Yeah.
You know, and the woman who apparently saw the van pull up in her yard, said that they were kind of going the wrong way to go out on the highway in the van, and that's why they had to turn around in her yard.
Mm-hmm.
And that would make sense if, you know, off the road there where the new house, if she didn't know her way around the neighborhood to get back out. Because you said it was a pretty good sized neighborhood. You know, so that would make sense why she was pulling her in there and turning around if they're going the wrong way, and then he makes them drive herself out to the woods or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
This whole thing just gets me.
Yep.
Because there's really a lot to it, but nothing at all.
I think there was a paper boy that actually saw a van too, and he described it as being brown instead of green.
Yeah, and I think over the years it's been brown and green and white, and
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people seen a lot of vans. It'd been pretty bad to be driving a van that time.
Yeah, if you drove a van like that, you got stopped probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But this case is still unsolved today, dude.
Yeah, I think they got over like 10,000 tips coming in. You know, it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This has been it's been 30 years and 3 months, I think, since this happened, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
We don't have nothing but some pile of glass. That's it.
Yeah. Sad case.
It is a sad case.
Yeah. And, I mean, nothing like this has ever happened in Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, no.
But me and you talked about this off and on, and we never could find out what happened to the dog Cinnamon.
No, and we're always curious about that, and I know a lot of you guys always wonder too, and we try to find out, in any case if there's a dog involved or a dog's got left or whatever, to find out what actually happened to the dog. But on this one, I hadn't heard a word.
No, don't know what happened to it.
Nope. So I hope somebody took him in.
Maybe Bart took the dog.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe Janice took him.
Yeah. In June of 1997, there was a bench that was dedicated to the women. This was inside the victim's memorial garden in Springfield Phelps Grove Park.
Yeah, Janice said a bunch of them went in and chipped in. She said, and it's really nice a bench, but it's not my daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy, man.
Yeah, I feel bad for her.
Yep.
I mean, you know, somebody knows something, you know, unless they're dead already. But it's been 30 years, and poor lady.
And
no closure at all.
One last thing on this Robert Cox. He's in prison.
Yeah.
But he is saying that he will tell what's up with these women when his mama dies.
Yeah, he said he says they're all dead and buried. He knows where they're buried or something like that.
Yeah. But he will tell everything he knows when his mama dies. She's in her 80s now. So maybe.
Oh, yeah. His actual quote was, "Yeah, but I just know that they're dead, and that's not my theory. I just know that."
Yep.
And he won't tell it to his mom or passes. His mother is 82 now.
Yep.
But, you know, he's up for parole in 2025.
Just a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, according to the lady who used to date Robert, her daughter who done that interview, you know, she said, well, that sounds like something he would say because he likes to be the one of attention and be Mr. Mysterious. But he also could know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Because he's just that kind of guy. So maybe he did do it, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's pretty compelling on him.
He's the major suspect if you know, of all the players that we know of.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know, it could have been something random, but I don't know. It's just, why wouldn't you take the money? I mean, if you were, you know, if you were just the random guy breaking in,
go through the pocketbooks, get the money.
Yeah, I mean, at least get the $900 in cash. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a weird thing that nothing was gone. They didn't take a thing but the people.
Yeah.
All three of them.
Like Kimberly Raymer.
Exactly. It's crazy.
It's really no different, like you said.
Yeah, it's really weird how similar they are. I mean, I know they're different, but it's really similar. I mean, we got weird phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything.
Yeah. Strange case, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is the story of the Springfield Three.
That is it.
Yep. Sherill Levitt, Susie Streeter, and Stacy McCall.
Yep. I wish they could find something and get some closure for that lady.
Yep. And Bart. I mean, I hate it for Bart.
Yeah, man.
I listened to an interview with him, and he's just...
I tell you what, that interview about took me out. I was like, ooh, I'm going to have to get a tissue.
Yeah. If you have a chance, listen to that podcast.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
It really is.
All right, dude, we're going to get out of here.
Let's roll.
We want everyone to be safe, be careful, and always be aware of your surroundings.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is the Crack House Chronicles.